Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to the Little Reader's House. I'm the Little Reader, also known as Amanda, and you are in my house, where you are so very welcomed, so adored, and I hope so comfortable to be yourself exactly as you are in this very moment, to communicate if you want to share your story or your experiences down below in the comments. I read each and every one, even if it takes me some time to get back to them and respond. Please know that they have been looked at with loving, grateful eyes. In addition to that, we've got guests. As always, we've got this beautiful selenite tower today, a first here in the house. I don't think we've ever showed this guest before, so welcome, selenite, and a very special guest, a white owl. And this white owl is actually from a visit that I took or had. Do you have a visit or do you take a visit? Or do you give a visit? Either way, I visited Vietnam, and that is where I met and became friends with this white owl. So those are our guests today. I'm going to set them somewhere prominent where I can enjoy their energetic transmissions. We also have the Lotus of Life. If you're new to the house, that's questions asked by beautiful souls from around the world. It is set off to the side. I don't know if we'll be pulling from it just yet, but let's tap in. Let's take a moment to get present. If you'd like to join me, beautiful soul, I would be honored. What does it mean to get present? It means absolute surrender to all that is as it is. I like to dip in with the vehicle of the breath. One of my personal favorite practices is to shift my awareness every possible percentage point that I can reach, that I can activate, right to the center of my chest. And then I just watch this space as if it was the most intent observation of the most fascinating phenomena imaginable. I just watch it with my awareness. I feel into it. I call that the realm of heart. And as we get present in this space, I am feeling moved to reach for the lotus of life. So let us see what it brings. Here it is. Inside are various questions asked through email, comments, channeled in. No, it's that one right there. Come back, come back. It's gotta be you. It's already unfolding, as a matter of fact. Oh! One of my favorite questions thus far that I've written down to put in there. Why am I so broke? You know, I wonder the same thing from time to time. So I'd love to hear Spirit's take on this. Why am I so broke? Beautiful. Thank you for this question. Let us see. Let us discover. Let us feel into and allow some energetic transmission using words and sounds and gestures and form. Thank you for being here. This is a delightful moment for me. So thank you for sharing it with me. Wow. So the first thing that Spirit brings through is addressing the question. A common thing in my own personal experience when I bring an intellectual or a mind-crafted inquiry to the throne room or to the present moment to give to Spirit in the hopes of receiving an understanding, an intellectual one, so often it's reflected back the answers in the question. That may even be a universal principle. Well, Spirit's smiling at that one, so little Rita might be onto something. The answer is in the question. Why am I so broke? The phrasing of this, interestingly, broke. Now we know, you and I, beautiful soul, know that the lingo, culturally, socially, colloquially, broke means poor, money free. We do not have the burden of financial wealth upon us. Why am I so broke? But the phrasing of the question Spirit brings attention to immediately, because this particular wording uses a word that indicates insufficiency. It's almost like, why am I so broken? What's wrong with me? Why am I failing? So Spirit's saying the intellectual origin of the question is as follows. Why in an abundant universe do I not have the financial resources to support myself and live a life of harmony? That's the intellectual ask. Completely fair, completely valid. We will address it. But Spirit first says, please understand that the failing is not yours, beautiful soul. The failing is not yours. It's not a failing to be free of the burden of immense wealth or even enough wealth. I know, as the little reader, you know, as my beautiful viewer, Spirit knows that although humanity has evolved to a degree where a great percentage of the population has the means to access technology like this. Hello, hi. The interwebs, clean water, electricity, a roof above the head. While the percentage of the population that has access to these things may be higher than it has been at other points in history, what Spirit says, even that's up for debate. Okay? The quality of life in terms of peace and restfulness does not seem to be as accessible, even with those basic survival needs met. There is an incredible, excuse my throat clearing, perhaps it's relevant. As a channeler and a tarot reader, you know, beautiful soul, every little thing can have a tie-in or a buy-in. There's an enormous amount of distress in the form, in the realm of mind, which is collective. For more information on that, pop back to previous transmissions. In the realm of heart, which is largely untapped by the majority of the population. And this distress, it's the nervous system. It's the weight of the mental realm crushing down on it. It's information overload. In fact, Spirit indicates that so many of our stressors have evolved, just as our consciousness has evolved. And evidently that is a natural evolution. That is how consciousness evolution works. A problem is solved, in this case, basic survival. Okay, now everyone has internet, a roof over their head, clean water, and food. But now they're working too much, or the jobs that are being worked don't touch the realm of heart, or there's a lack of direction, a lack of purpose, a lack of innate fulfillment, or there's too much of a yang or a projective energy being expended that doesn't allow for a receptive or a yin rebuilding and healing of the body. It's at a different type of cost. So we solve problems as a society, sort of. But if we don't look at the root, if we don't look at the internal balance, the internal alignment, then our evolutionary process takes in what we perceive time to be, which is, we perceive it as this stretched out duration that happens in a linear fashion. That seems to take longer. That seems to be more difficult. And at the same time, no pun intended, we lose control of it. So the days are long, difficult, frustrating, but the weeks and months and years fly by. So Spirit's indicating all of this to say, all of this to feel this, to offer the invitation to feel this truth. When we say, why am I so broke? Why don't I have the financial means to live the life that I know I'm capable of living, that I know I'm worthy of living, that I suspect perhaps I wasn't created to struggle, to work 60 to 80 hours a week, to work multiple jobs. And even if I don't work, perhaps I wasn't created to be numb and depressed and anxious and self-hating all the time. But Spirit says, I'm inviting you to accept a possibility that you're neither broke nor broken, that you are not failing in this world, that you haven't messed up, taken the wrong path, made the wrong choices, that you aren't a peon, that you aren't less worthy, that you aren't stupid is a big one that's coming through. This idea that if I don't have financial wealth to fritter away, I am an idiot. I am stupid somehow. I'm just stupid. I'm not getting it. This is big. This belief is very woven in to the modern mind, at least here in the States. As there is for every perceived challenge in our lives, there is in fact a very distinct purpose for a lack of financial wealth. It is a request from the soul that wishes to be activated to the deepest level. As with all suffering, discomfort, frustration, pain, exhaustion, allow an opportunity for the soul to awaken. The soul being the contract, the mission that you as awareness opted into to experience fully, to experience completely. That's why here in the house, especially in the past few transmissions, take a look at the power of sitting with your emotion. We've discussed how sitting with the truth of a feeling, sitting with the truth of any and all circumstance is the ultimate transmutation, transformation machine. It is the ultimate miracle in action, because it allows a remembrance of the soul's mission, and it reduces and releases all resistance. This resistance that we as human beings have to suffering actually keeps us very trapped in repeating cycles and patterns. It doesn't awaken the soul. It doesn't do much other than to keep us exactly in the experience we're having, which we're not having because we're denying it and we don't want to look at it. Pain, don't want to feel it. Hand me a substance. Confusion, don't want to feel it. Boredom, don't want to feel it. So much we're just meh, don't want to feel it. This resistance to suffering or discomfort doesn't let the soul flourish, awaken. Eventually, the resistance corrodes. The suffering must be felt either now or quote unquote later, as we humans call it. But it's more, well, we'll talk about time at another time. The opportunity to be broke, financially unwealthy, provides the soul power. It lessens resistance. It corrodes this desire to not look at the mission, to not look at the purpose, until the mission and the purpose is acknowledged by awareness, verified, validated, and acted upon. So, Amanda, please say that in a way that makes sense. Well, beautiful soul, if you find yourself to be broke, there is an incredibly high probability that the immense wealth sitting center of the chest, a wealth of emotions, a wealth of insights, creativity, stamina, passion, is untapped. And there is a high probability that the lack of financial security, stability, or abundance, if it's being looked at, perceived as suffering, is a catalyst to unlocking your soul and supercharging your life experience with bliss. That is what is coming through. I'd like to hear more about that, speaking for myself. So Spirit, let's go. How does being stressed out, working multiple jobs, impoverished, lacking generational wealth, steeped in debt, struggling to survive, and probably dealing with anxiety and depression on top of all of that, lead to our soul's bliss? Hit me with whatever you got. Spirit's saying it's happening right now. It's happening right now. I got to look at you and tell you this, beautiful soul. It turns you into a seeker. It turns you into a seeker. If you were to be handed a check today that said infinite amount of money, the check just has an infinity symbol and you can deposit in the bank. You get this special golden credit card with a little silver diamond emblazoned on it, and it's endless. There's no limit. Thank you. It would not fulfill the contract, the mission, the soul. It would, initially we think I would put an end to my worries, an end to my problems, but that is the mind speaking. So Spirit's pointing at the mind as having an enormous role in the why am I broke question. It's judging. The mind is looking at you, beautiful soul, looking at me, and saying, you are failing. You're failing because you're not keeping up with the social game. You're failing because you're not feeding yourself. You're not taking care of your needs sufficiently. You're failing because you can't provide for your family, because you can't go on the vacations or wear the clothes or show the status. You're going to be left behind, the old FOMO. You're failing. That's a mental judgment. And the idea that having more money would remove our worries or solve our problems is a belief provided by the mind to back up this judgment. It's all a premise built on sawdust or something very dissolvable. Dust, actually. Let's go even lower than sawdust. It's just actual dust. That's what I'm seeing. The solution to peace rephrase. To produce the experience of peace, no shift in external circumstance is required. So money won't provide mental peace. It turns out that having money and financial resources won't necessarily nourish the form either. It's not going to necessarily improve the health. It's not going to change any of the habits and patterns that have gotten the form in the mind of every individual asking the question to where they are right now. So whether you get the infinite check with the infinite credit card with the little silver diamond emblazoned on it, I have a whole vision. It's not going to solve the issue. Because there is no issue, Spirit says. You're neither broke nor broken. The judgment that the mind is making is faulty. So, Spirit's asking me to invite you to contemplate this in new terms. Let's set a new scene. You got no money, okay? I feel ya. You don't have the resources available to expand in the way that you think, that you need to expand. Your mind has developed a solution. The solution that the mind has developed is money. You don't have it. Great. Premise established. Let's set it over to the side. Now, Spirit brings it in with this. That's a thought. It lives in the realm of mind. It is a belief. The form is attached to it? Maybe. It could be generational. You could look back through the entire ancestral line and see poverty. I'm hearing the word subjugation. I'm not even sure I know what that word means. Help me. Whatever it is, patterns and forms have brought you to this moment where you believe that money is the solution. Spirit says no external solution shifts the patterns and forms, and the patterns and forms are what really is the quote-unquote problem. If we're talking, why don't you have financial security? Why don't you have financial stability? It's related to the patterns and forms that are installed in this form, in this mental link that your awareness is dwelling in. But Spirit says it's not a problem for you to solve. So many individuals will expend so much energy. They'll take their awareness and put it on these courses and solutions of which there's nothing wrong with. Again, not wrong, but it is making time. It is making the evolution and the degree of bliss felt throughout the course of the journey really diminished, because individuals are thinking, I must expend my energy to figure out how to fix the forms and patterns within me that keep me from being rich. Either intellectually, I'll take a course on money, or spiritually, I'll learn about manifestation. I'll buy amulets, and crystals, and lucky talismans, and I will practice drawing Merkabas in my mind, and the numbers, I'll place them everywhere, and then some affirmations for the shower. I am abundant, and such, and more, etc., etc. And again, Spirit loves the human experience, so there is no judgment from Spirit on this. Spirit's like, take the course, take 1, take 10. Whatever you like, that is your free will. Spirit is just applauding you. Your spirit guides are like, hey, this is a judgment-free zone. But what Spirit's inviting us to understand, including myself, the little reader, because again, news to me. It's news to me. It's always cool to be learning and talking at the same time. It's a very dynamic experience. But I digress. What Spirit is inviting us to understand is that there is no problem, and it isn't faulty wiring or faulty patterns. Yes, we can look back at the generations and say, this is why there is no financial stability. We can look at our spending habits and say, this is why there's no financial stability. We can look at our recent divorce or the IRS if you live in the States, or, at our kids or our pets. They can be real spendy, real expensive. We can look anywhere and find an intellectual, logical reason for why there is no financial stability, for why I am so broke. But the reason why ultimately is because in this exact precise moment where your patterns have taken you, the patterns installed in this form, the patterns that then generate the way that you think, this is not a problem. You are not at fault. It was built into the game before you even got to the game. Then your awareness got here. You came to this moment where you are now. Now you realize, oh, I am awareness. I'm not this form. I'm experiencing an experience, and I'm here, and I don't have any problems, and I'm certainly not broken or broke. I don't have any money, but the reason why is because I was meant to reach this exact moment, to look into the little reader's eyes, to feel a transmission from Spirit, and to recognize that there are things more valuable than financial stability, financial security, and financial abundance for your journey, for your growth, for your path, for your experience, for your pleasure and bliss, ultimately, at this exact moment in time. And if you weren't broke, you wouldn't be here. And if you weren't here, I don't know where you'd be. All I know is that Spirit says you are exactly in the right place at exactly the right time to activate and awaken your heart. And the purpose of every moment since your awareness jumped into this experience was to do that very thing. Money not required. Money not necessary. And no matter how much we dance around and we change our intellect and we shift our thoughts and our beliefs and we try to manipulate the experience this way and that way, and there are so many ways that we do this, we are still operating based off of patterns. The more conscious we become, the more we realize there is no need to attempt to reverse engineer this life experience through manipulating it. And this goes for money. Instead, we sit, if we are capable of such a thing, we close the eyes or we leave them open. And we accept this moment exactly as it is. And we don't change a thing. We just wake up. We wake up from the patterns. We watch them. If we happen to have a spending habit, we make a big deal of witnessing it very intently as it's happening. If we happen to work 3 jobs, we make a very big deal about witnessing every minute of every hour of every shift. If we happen to have no jobs, if we happen to have debt, we witness it all from a non-judgmental location. We do not attempt to change a thing. The system isn't broken either. The system, from the vantage point of the divine, is immaculate. And the intellect has a field day of resisting the shit out of that one. The intellect can draw out 1,001 reasons in under a minute for why the system is broken, for why we are broken, and for why our lives are pieces of insert expletive here. But if we wanted to live in the mind, we have to solve our problems with the mind. And that can only bring satisfaction to the mind. And the mind is only a very small percentage of our existence. So Spirit invites you, beautiful soul, to step out of the mental realm, which is where the problem of why am I so broke exists, and step into the realm of infinite possibilities right here and right now. If you've ever heard that your luck can change in an instant, that is where it happens. The impulse to buy a lottery ticket, and this is channeling right through me, so let's just go there. I don't know what's about to come out of my mouth. I'm a little bit petrified, if I'm being honest. But the impulse to buy a lottery ticket is founded on an instinct that it is possible to have an 180-degree shift in life experience in a moment. It is possible. There is an instinct. The awareness within you knows infinity because it is infinity. So every part of the form and the mind, and of course the heart, is aware that a shift in tide, a change in luck, a change in the wind is possible. It is the mind that then co-opts this idea and says, beautiful soul, you need to make that happen for yourself because nobody's going to make it happen for you. And we make our own luck in this world. Hello, Titanic. That is a Little Reader reference. I make my own luck, jacket, pistol, the whole thing. If you know, you know. Spirit's saying, love that for you. Once again, there's no judgment in this. Go forth and make your own luck and report back. How is that working for you? Let's say you manage to accumulate financial abundance to the degree that you desire it through the intellect. Spirit celebrates it, but Spirit gently, lovingly suggests that that is still not addressing the root, the rut, which is at the foundation. It is the cradle for all of society. It exists in every individual, and it must be upended and overturned on an individual basis by all those who have access to this truth. Abundance exists right here in the realm of heart. Miracles exist right here in the realm of heart. A change in fortune is generated, a true change in fortune, by becoming a witness to the patterns, by watching the movie that is your life in a loving, non-judgmental way, and then in moments of clarity and moments of consciousness and moments of awakeness, shifting in that place to seed more love into your form, more love into your mind, and more love in the Mecca that is your heart, where all love explodes out of. That is how fortunes change. And when you ride the horse of your destiny by shifting your awareness into the heart space of pressing pause on the thinking mind, which is repeatedly talking to you about your financial woes, again, a judgment from the mind, a problem made by the mind, for the mind, from the mind. If we can pause that and get to here and spend even a shred of the amount of awareness that we spend all day up there, if we could just be just like a little rip into the heart, just dive in. Abundance unleashed. It's not a promise of financial stability, for the record. It's a promise that the peace and the bliss and the liberty and the alignment and the purpose that we are looking to feel, so we believe that we need the financial stability to facilitate the lifestyle that will then allow us to feel those feelings. Skip it. Just go to the source, darling. Right here. That is the promise from Spirit. Always a gentle invitation with an open hand. Always. And then you see your life change out here as a reflection of the shift in here. And we completely and lovingly bypass this right here. Because ultimately, this is the problem maker, and it wants to be the problem solver, but that's not its gift. Skip the problem. You're not broke. You're not broken. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Right here, right now, poised for your destiny. Now it's just a matter of letting that go for a few moments and learning to be right here. Developing the witness and living in it. And oh, how your fortunes will change, beautiful soul. You will win the lottery of existence because you will finally be giving yourself permission to be alive instead of waiting to be comfortable, supported, rested, relaxed, healed, adventured, whatever it is that the money is meant to do, whatever the solutions that the mind has assigned, that rhymed, to the money. The mind has said, oh yeah, money's gonna get you all this stuff. Detach. The mind is so sweet, it's so cute, it's beautiful, and we love it so much. But this is a world built on mind. It's a system built on mind. So if you happen to believe that the system isn't working properly, we don't want to go into the mind to attempt to correct it. We want to go to the new paradigm. What's happening, what's hip, what's now is the realm of heart. And interestingly, according to Spirit, this is the real moneymaker. If you, let's just say, you wanted to see the zeros hopping into the old bank account. Often desire is destiny. So if money for the sake of money is something that you crave, to follow the path that your heart sets out for you will cause your desires and your destiny to fuse. But if you don't want money for the sake of money, you just want all the things that money will bring, then there's another path in there. And when you follow it courageously, because the mind will scream at you about it for a time, you access the jackpot. So beautiful soul. Why am I so broke? Because the mind said so. Does the mind know what objective truth is? Is the mind a worthy judge? Is the mind omniscient, omnipotent? Is the mind a magical, loving, infinite realm of bliss? I mean, that's up for you to decide. Will you allow the mind to have the authority to tell you that you're failing and that your lack of financial abundance is a problem, a mess up, something to be ashamed of? Just questions. Here in the house, you are perfect the way you came in and the way you leave, and everything in between. Before you go, Spirit offers this. If you could see how every element of existence on this planet is being upheld to just the degree and just the proportion, just the right angles, just the right balance to sustain your life, yours. You are that important. You are that VIP. You are that priceless. You are Spirit's most impeccable creation. This is not meant to compare to others. This is for you. You and only you. This entire game is sustained just so you can play it. You already are walking value, walking worth, walking importance. The way that nature and the spirits celebrate and bow to you would make you feel some type of way. Could you see it? So, as we let you go from today's transmission, from both me and Spirit, I can stand behind this one proudly. Don't underestimate the value of you because of some symbols that some minds decided indicate worth. The value of you is ineffable and unspeakable. And if you ever get a whiff of it by dropping into the center of your heart, it will leave you weeping in gratitude and humility and awe. Yeah. So, I bow to you in reverence of that. Until we meet again, beautiful soul, I am sending you all the love I've got. Always more, never less. I feel a good cry coming on. A lot of emotional release here in this transmission today, so I'm just going to go see myself to it. But it has been a pleasure. I don't play when I say it's an honor. To sit with the divine is pretty much a world maker for me. So thank you for giving me the chance. Yeah, I'm going to jet, but until tomorrow, beautiful soul, I love you. Bye for now.